Hey friends, it's Jamae Bell with Big Sky Fluid Art, and today I thought I would do a video on Dutch pouring. And there's one thing that I've been curious about, which is should you try to do Dutch pouring with floetrol, which is what I did here, floetrol and water and tube paint, and there's my tests to see how the liquid the paint is. Or should you do Dutch pouring with just tube paint and water like Rinskaduna? And there's lots of great options between both of those techniques. But if you use only tube paint and water, of course, it's more expensive because you're using more paint and not that filler floetrol, which doesn't cost very much. So this first attempt, I'm doing 2 pours today. This first one is with about 1 part paint to 3 parts flood, and then I water it down, kind of like you saw before, with a little test on a strip of paper to make sure that about a pea-size amount will make a stream down the paper of about 2 inches. And so that's the easiest way for me personally to test the thickness of my paints for Dutch pouring. I haven't done a lot of Dutch pours in the past, mostly because I really like embellishing my paintings with natural landscape, and I didn't feel like Dutch pour really lended itself to that for the most part. But today I was trying to mimic Northern Lights feel, and at the very end of this video I show the 3 pieces I did. I only recorded 2, but I ended up pouring 3 pieces with the same color palette for all 3, and you can see how I embellished them to look like Northern Lights. So here are the paints that I'm using. The first one I poured down there is a folk art color shift in kind of a spring green yellow. That second white looking color is actually an Amsterdam pearl paint in blue. And then I use an Artist Loft, that darker blue is the Artist Loft metallic blue. And then on top of that is another folk art color shift in like a turquoise. And then the white along the edges is another Amsterdam pearl in purple. And the dark on the very top is a Master's Touch phthalo blue. So, and then of course you need that extra layer of the background paint in order to have enough to blow it over your colors to create some lacing. So, of course I didn't quite have enough, but I had enough to make it work for what I was hoping to go for. So, and then I blow towards me just to cover up the paint a little bit. I did speed up the video just because they're so long, and I thought it would be easier to watch sped up. And then I let it sit for just a little bit to develop some lacing. And what I did notice, I guess I'll tell you now, between the painting with floetrol, which is this one, and the next painting I'll show the second half of the video, which is just tube paint and water, is that the floetrol creates quite a bit more cellular action. So if you're looking for that in your Dutch pour, then I definitely do recommend using floetrol. Or if you are just trying to be cheap, like I usually am, it's nice to use floetrol as a filler. Otherwise you'll use up a lot of your tube paint fast if you're only using tube paint and water. But they do create different effects. And I like both types of effects, and I think you just sort of choose based off of what you're trying to do at the time. So this is what the floetrol tube paint and water looked like as far as Northern Lights. And then I'll show you kind of a close-up flyover of it. Here it is. All right, so here's the second painting with the same color scheme, same paints as I stated earlier. And you can see kind of how liquidy my background is. And for a long time when I was trying to do Dutch pours, I was definitely making it too thick. And the thing that finally worked for me was the testing on paper. And I think I show that both times for you, that I take a pea-size amount and I drip it onto a piece of paper, and then I tip the paper upright and let it flow down and make sure that it's flowing down about 2 inches. And then I know I have about the right consistency for a Dutch pour. So this uses only, the black is, there's my testing. The black, oh, and there's some of the colors. And of course that one that was short told me I needed to go back and add more water. So I added more water to that particular paint. The black background I have is just Amsterdam black, which you can buy on Amazon, or maybe you have them in paint stores. I don't in Montana. And the Amsterdam brand paint is important when you are using just water, because it's thick enough and it has the quality and the right binding consistency to work for just paint and water. So all of these paints have not been mixed with floetrol. They've just been mixed with water. And but they're all the same colors and a very similar design. This time I'm blowing in a little different direction because I was hoping to orient this painting vertically, while the other one will be oriented horizontally. And I was making 3 paintings that would look kind of like Northern Lights. So I think I actually, I don't know, maybe I do like the paint and water better. It was very subtle and had a beautiful effect, as you'll see when I do the flyover. And it blew out just as easily. But honestly, up to this point, I had never tried solely water, mostly because it feels expensive to me, and I know I can use floetrol as a filler. So something interesting about the Amsterdam Pearl paints, when you mix them with floetrol or just with water, they appear to be kind of a milky, pearly white. So you have to pay attention to, which color you're using. But once they go onto a black background, they show up. And even if you aren't using them for acrylic pouring, even if you just hand paint them onto a black canvas, you'll see the colors show up. So they're really fun to work with. They have this iridescent shimmer. I haven't tried them only on their own. I almost always add 1 or 2 pigmented paints along with them. But maybe next time I'll give it a try only on their own. They create a really subtle effect, but beautiful, I think. So here's the second painting, and I was pretty happy with the result and didn't really need to blow it with my mouth very much. I was happy with how it turned out for the most part. And here's a flyover, and I thought it looks really nice for like a borealis or a night sky or a nebula. I was pleased with the effect. It's really hard to capture the shimmer of the pearl paints. But, and then here's the finished product, and hopefully I'll have a chance next week to resin them. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks.